The aspect of testing the boundaries is that you go into uncharted territories, you go past your limits. And, I respect certain people who decide to push themselves physically. I have this friend that trains to run 100-mile races, and I didn't even think about it, but I told one of my friends about this, and he did the math really quick in his head. He said he's jogging like 3.5 miles an hour, but he gets it done for 36 hours, 38 hours straight. But that physical, pushing yourself physically, is something that's been challenged by me. I never really had I have always had a deeply emotional connection to myself. The emotions I am experiencing, and not only the emotions. See, for me, emotions are mental constructs. Feelings are where these mental constructs, the mind tries to make sense of feelings and creates emotions. So when we speak of an emotion, that's a mental construct of a feeling, and it's secondary, it's not primary. But I never really knew this when I was younger, but looking back, I can see that I've always been one that feels very rooted, alive, and present and accounted for when I have feelings. And without the feelings, I get a bit manic, uprooted, and I see this in others too. I observe. I'm always the filter, but through which I'm looking and observing things. But I see a lot of people who stay very, very busy doing things, and some of these things are very beneficial to me and beneficial to other people, and I don't want it to sound as though it's less important, but I realize that we're living in fast-paced times, and a lot of people are lost, and they're very busy doing a lot of many things, but they don't have any personal experience, and then they want to do these big things to try to have a personal feeling experience, when if they just mellowed out. I'm reminded of meditation, yoga being this, the stopping of spontaneous mind stuff. I sat and did meditation where I'd sit and in the dark with a little candle and just look into a mirror. And I realized, at the beginning it'd be 20 minutes, and I worked myself up to about 45-minute meditations. But in the beginning, all this stuff for the whole time I was sitting there would start arising to my consciousness. My mind would just go a million miles a second with all these kinds of thoughts. Then it got to the point where it got down to just a couple of minutes, and then I would go past that to a state of stillness and no thought. Haven't done that in a while. But back to the physical stuff, I respect people who do that, and I receive great boons from my own physical therapy and challenging myself, and boy do I have those challenges, especially being later in life and trying to get physically fit later in life. I just realized that with my back injury, it affirmed my inner feeling experience. I didn't want to be injured. It was they were all accidents, and I wasn't trying to do some feat of strength or anything. but it affirmed that I turn inward and that I have this inner experience. And I came to understand, just like I said earlier, that many people have a very difficult time having their own feeling states. I think, I've thought about it a little bit, and the feeling states seem to be prior to thought processes, prior to consciousness. And some of our most profound conscious realizations are activated and inspired by feeling states, depth emotional states. So with this transplanting, which requires that I bend over and kneel and sit, and lifting these pots and plants and digging and stuff, I've had to take some time off of my regular physical therapy regimen because it'd be too much to do both. And I get a bit depressed. And I remember, I said this in an earlier journal, that there was an article where getting your heart rate up to 120 beats a minute for 20 minutes straight can cure 85% of mild and moderate depression. And yet, it's been a long while since I've had a situation in which I genuinely felt depressed due to an objective experience that was pretty terrible. So when the depressive states come over me, they're usually experiences of a very personal nature. They're not an objective experience pressed upon me that makes me depressed. I have to take ownership of my own feelings. And responsibility for them. Accountability to them as well is very important. Denying our emotional states, that causes all kinds of problems. For me, anyway. I've seen other people go in complete denial their entire life, and they can be productive, and they're decent people, but there's something missing where they're completely unaware of this whole aspect of life.